Here in the deep quiet of the forest stands the chapel of St. Urho.
Brantwood resident Bill Hoffman had a dream.
Many years ago, I watched Alone in the Wilderness on public television. They played it every fundraising, and I fell in love with that, and I wanted to build a cabin here the way he built it in Alaska.
Mike Mackey had a talent.
I've never built a building from a blueprint. I've never built one from a plan. Everything is right in my mind like they did 100 years ago. It's art form. To me, it's strictly art.
Roughly 10 years ago, they started building Mackey Talo and their friendship.
Mackey is hill and Talo is house. Hill house, this is on a hill. And of course, it's also a play on Mike's last name, so it has several meanings.
Bill wanted me to build him a piece of my artwork, and I thought he meant a table or a chair. He meant a building. So we built one, and after that, we had to have a sauna for it.
And then I decided that this building wasn't big enough for a queen-size bed, and I wanted a queen-size bed, so I told Mike we needed another cabin, a bedroom cabin.
After 3 buildings and an outhouse, there was only one piece missing.
Several years ago, a good friend of mine suggested that it might be nice to have a chapel here. And that was always on my back burner. And when the centennial of Finland came along, I decided that now's the time to do it, to build a chapel. And of course, how could it not be built in honor of St. Urho?
St. Urho, for those of you who don't know, is a creation of Finns in northern Minnesota in the mid-1950s. According to legend, St. Urho chased the grasshoppers out of ancient Finland, saving the grape crop and thus the jobs of those who picked the grapes.
And of course, you know what the sign says. Grasshopper, grasshopper, go away. Those are the words that St. Urho shouted and chased the grasshoppers out of Finland.
So right behind us is my version of Chapel of St. Urho's. And we didn't have time to do it on a log, so we did it by hand. No, everything's built by hand, and it turned out another piece of artwork.
The chapel is a work of art. Simple with a touch of rustic elegance, pieces of local history have also been given a second life.
These are the log church, the 100-year-old doors from the log church in AAA.
Finnish decor accents the locally sourced wooden fixtures, hand-picked by Bill and hand-built by Mike.
Of course, Mike put it all together for me. He's such a genius. He's a creative genius.
Their favorite part about the chapel? The statue.
I was reading in a Wisconsin magazine about this wood carver from Sugar Camp north of Rhinelander. And there were pictures, and I was so impressed that I asked him to carve a statue of St. Urho. He's the finest chainsaw carver anywhere, and I'm absolutely thrilled with the statue he created. I told him he had to put 2 things on St. Urho. His buko, the knife, and his pointed shoes. That's what makes him St. Urho.
Bill's dream, Mackey Talo, is now complete.
It's kind of sad to see it done now. You know, it's kind of like the end of a book. I hate to close it, but of course maybe now the good times will start now, but we can spend a little bit of time back here.
It's just a very beautiful chapel. I think it's the most beautiful chapel I've ever seen. And it's got so much of us into it.
For My Finnish-American Life, I'm Kristen Ojanimi.